Hey everyone, it's Dr. Margie with the Micropractice. Today what I want to talk about is what are some of the most effective communication strategies when speaking to people about chiropractic, whether it is a patient or non-patient. How can you organize and gather your thoughts in a way that you can be effective in what you're saying to the person that you're speaking to? Now, as a micropractice owner and a micropractice promoter, I'm all about making things as efficient as possible. And even in this sense, even when you speak to people, make sure that your thoughts are clear and organized so that ultimately, again, what you're saying and getting across to the person is what that person is ready to hear. In my experience, a lot of times what I'll find is that chiropractors will jump the gun, so to speak, and say a little bit too much too fast to the patient or too soon to the patient, and then it just kind of leaves the person a little bit kind of dazed and confused. And what were they talking about? D.D. Palmer, subluxation, 1895, Harvey Lillard. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously I love chiropractic. I love talking to people about chiropractic. But what I found in my experience is that there are some really great strategies for you to keep your thoughts clear and organized, and so that you can lead the conversation really well and get on the level that that person is at. There are 3 ways that I found that you can focus on that can help this whole process. And again, it'll just make the conversation even that much more fun and even that much more in depth. So the first thing that I suggest that you do is ask a lot of questions. When you're asking questions, keep them open-ended. Let the person talk so that, again, you can get an understanding of what's happening. So now when I ask questions, the most common questions I'll ask are these 2. I'll number 1 ask, have you ever been to a chiropractor yourself? And if you have, what was your experience with that chiropractor? Or have you ever heard of anything about chiropractic? What have you heard from other people about chiropractic? Now, when I ask those questions, I find in my experience, patients fall into one of 3 categories. Category number 1 is nothing. I don't know anything about chiropractic. Category number 3, let's jump to, is I know everything about chiropractic and I know all about Palmer College and D.D. Palmer in 1895. And so there's that category and this category. And you'll notice with my little hand gestures, those are smaller categories. The most common category, number 2, I call, are the people who have heard some stuff about chiropractic, who have been to chiropractors or have some experience with chiropractors. So that's by far the largest group that you're going to be dealing with when you're speaking to people about chiropractic. So category number 1, category number 3, small part of the population. Category 2 is by far the largest part of the population that you're going to be addressing. Regardless though, you want to be able to get on that person's individual level so that, again, you're not telling them too much information too soon. You want to educate, you want to communicate chiropractic, whether it's with your patients, so they really get a full understanding of what their experience is going to be, or again, whether it's somebody out in the public who just happens to start asking you about chiropractic because you're a chiropractor. So number 1, ask questions. Now number 2 is hand in hand with number 1, very important. Number 2 is listen and repeat. So number 1, you're asking the questions. Now they are talking and answering your questions. It's your turn to listen to what they say and then repeat back to them a brief summary of what it was that you just heard them say. Now, if somebody starts telling me about anything about chiropractic, about low back pain, about injuries, about auto accidents, about neck pain, about headaches, whatever it is that they happen to say, I want to affirm and support what it is that they have said, if what they've said is true, or if what they've said is applicable or accurate to what actually chiropractic is. So yes, do we see low back pain coming in? Yes. Do we see neck pain coming in? Yes, we see all of those things. But then when I listen to them and I repeat back to them, I may add in just a little bit of an additional nugget to then connect it to the big picture of chiropractic and how chiropractic checks the nervous system and spine, all that kind of stuff. I'll make it very simple though. I'm not going to start going into a whole lot of detail because that might just be too much too soon. So you listen, you repeat back to them. The other strong thing that happens when you repeat back to them what they've said, they in their mind think to themselves, boy, she really listened to what I said. And she really cares about what I've said because she's really taken the time to listen to me. Not a lot of healthcare providers are known for their great listening skills anymore. So if we as chiropractors can start really working on this, boy, we're going to set ourselves apart from other healthcare practitioners out there. So step 1 is ask questions. Step 2 is listen and repeat. Now it's time for step 3. Step 3, I find in my experience, is what can help us as chiropractors not take things so personally. Sometimes if you are having this really great conversation, you feel like with a patient or with a person, and then you maybe invite them to come in as a new patient or to schedule, and then that person says no, gosh, we can start to feel rejected personally, and we start to take it very personally. And I did as well. I took it personally for years in my career. But I found that when I started implementing step number 3, I now took my personal attachment to the situation away, and it became something much greater about chiropractic versus just me individually as Dr. Margie. So step 3 in this whole process is ask permission. That means that when you start getting through these processes of asking questions, listening and repeating, coming to an understanding of where they are about their knowledge of chiropractic, now you're going to ask permission. And you simply are going to say something like this: would it be okay with you if I tell you a little bit more about chiropractic? Because you already have some of the initial ideas of what chiropractors may do, but would it be okay with you if I give you a little bit more detail and if I went a little deeper into what chiropractic really is all about? And again, you stop and you listen to what their answer is. I would say the far majority of the time when I am in that scenario and I say that, the person says, yes, of course, tell me more about chiropractic. Every so often though, they will say no. They'll say, no, all right, no, I don't really want to hear about that right now. Great, okay, sounds good. If you ever want to hear more about it, just let me know. And so that's where now, gosh, we can take our personal feelings out of certain scenarios. And that's just one example of dozens of different ways that within your life, within your day, within your practice, you just start asking permission about stuff. Hey, can we talk about that? Hey, can I bring up that? Hey, can we discuss this? And again, when that person says no, all right, well, you just let me know when you'd like me to talk about that or you'd like me to bring that up, and I'm here for you, right? And so again, not only is it keeping it very objective as far as a conversation, but it's keeping it super productive and efficient. So if you're just getting to a point where you're just talking at people, oh, that's just wasting your breath, right? This is such a clear, nice, organized way to, again, get that effective communication out to your patients or to people that you're speaking of. Because ultimately, it comes back to being a chiropractic patient, and I want people to be chiropractic patients. So I want them to have a great impression of chiropractors, and I know that I'm a part of that. So this, I found in my experience, leaves people again with great conversations, great impressions, without feeling like we're talking at them and giving them and flooding them with too much information. So again, remember the 3 steps: ask questions, listen and repeat, and ask for permission. Hopefully the next time you find yourself in any kind of communication scenario, you'll remember these steps, practice these steps, and you'll start to get it so quickly that it's just going to be second nature for you. This is Dr. Margie Smith with the Micro Practice. I'll see you all next time. Thanks. Bye.